Hey everybody, in this tutorial we are going to take our branching project that we created in the last assignment and we are going to implement that into a Unity game. So a few things that you need. You'll need the project template, which I downloaded as a zip file. Then I unzipped it and it created this template here. This contains a Unity project and a few things that we're going to do. There is a Wwise project inside of it. And we're going to delete that because we don't need that anymore. That's the old one. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So I'll just move that to the trash. And then I'm going to take my branching project and I'm going to move it to the folder. Now you can copy it to the folder if you want, but just keep in mind that you then might have two copies and you have to be careful about which one you're using. We are using this one here in the folder of the template. Okay. Next, we want to go to the Unity Hub and open up this Unity starter template that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and find Unity Hub. I'm going to choose Open. I'm going to navigate to the right folder here, which is in my Downloads folder. I'll go ahead and then open it like so. The first time I open a project, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to recompile all the assets. Should take about 30 to 40 seconds. On subsequent loads, it will load quicker. Okay, great. Now, just so that everyone's looking at the same thing, let's make sure that our layouts are the same. So, Window menu, then we'll go to Layouts, and we'll go to Default Layout. That should make our windows the same. Next thing that we want to do is we want to pick the correct scene. Right now it loaded with the untitled scene. Let's make sure to load level 1 right here. It's asking us whether we want to save untitled, which we don't. We haven't done anything with it. So we don't need to save that. So not saving. And then it kind of loaded up this very simple scene that you've seen before in other of the templates that are for this class. Okay, now the next thing we have to do is tell Unity where our new project is. So in order to do that, we have to go to the Edit menu and choose Project Settings. There are many different project settings, but the ones that we're interested in are the ones in the Wwise editor here. And it tells us where our Wwise project is. We have to reset that to our branching project. So I'm going to click these three dots. I'm going to go to my Downloads folder, which is where it is. I'm going to go into my folder, my Wwise and Unity project folder, where I put my branching project. I will double click on that and then find the project document, which has a extension of WPROJ. I'm going to double click that and I should kind of see it in this slot now. Okay. Now, the next thing that we want to do is go to the Window menu and choose Wwise Picker. And then we can refresh the project. Now, sometimes this works, and sometimes I have to re-import all the objects in my scene. And in this case, I have to re-import. So there's a special command which allows us to re-import all assets. So in order to do that, we can say re-import all, this one. So not the first one, re-import all. And it's going to say, are we sure? And we say, yes, we're sure. And then it's going to close the project and re-import all the assets. All that is a good thing. Essentially what it's doing is it's kind of reconfiguring for this new Wwise project that we have. Okay, now we want to go back to the Wwise Picker like we have. Then we want to go to File System. Then we want to go to Refresh Project. then within sound banks, you should now see your current sound bank. My current sound bank is level 1 sound bank, and that's good because that's what I named it in my Wwise project. Just to double check, we can generate our sound banks here, and it should generate our sound banks in the project itself. And that will kind of clear up errors that might appear in the console. We can clear out the errors too here. We shouldn't see any red lines. Okay, let's set up our scene. So I have a few objects in here and we can create some more. But essentially when I go back to the Wwise picker, I have the sound bank. I want to make sure the sound bank gets loaded in the level. So if I go to the Wwise global here, I can see that I have a bank in the level, and what I'll do is just reselect the bank or drag in my level 1 sound bank here. Okay, so my level 1 sound bank is now going to load when I start the game. Cool. There's also something else on this object, which is the start game event. I'm also going to look at my events here. And I have a start game, and I'm going to drag the start game onto this one here. So now when I play it, I should hear my music. Great. So that's playing. We've set up the Wwise Global correctly. And now I have 2 other states that I'm going to kind of go to. So I'll go over here to this one and select the sphere. On the sphere, I have set up a set state suspense. I'm going to kind of look at my, I'm going to refresh my project here. I'm going to look at my, I have 3 different states. I have explore. We start off in explore, then we go to chase. So I'm going to go ahead and drag chase over into here. So now when I collide with this, it will switch over to set state chase. And then maybe I want to reset the lettering here. So there's a text object. And so this one is chase, like that. And then I'll go to the other side over here and set state. I'm going to change this one here to combat. So I'll change this text first, and then I'll go drag the object onto it. So this is set state and then combat for me. Okay. And then I'll select the cube, and then at the bottom you can see that there is an event being triggered here. Right now that event is set state explore, but I want to go ahead and change it to combat. So I'll drag combat into here. All right, let's test it out. So this is explore that we're hearing. That's the intro. And now we're hearing explore. And if I want to go to chase after the next phrase, I can then collide with this object. I'm going to wait just a second to do that. Then click it. So now we're in chase. And I'm going to go into combat. So I'll trigger it. So now I'm in combat. Great. Okay, so that's all working. Now I want to set up some stingers. For this, let's go up to the game object menu and then create a new 3D, and we'll do capsules. So we'll create a capsule, and I'll see a capsule in my world here, and I'll drag it to the close kind of to the surface here. And I'll just leave it in the middle. We're going to want to do 3 of these, but we'll start with 1 here. We can make it bigger too by changing the scale. So maybe we want to change this to 5, 5, and 5. So it's really big. Okay. Make sure that it's not below but it's above the little plane that we have here. And then we have to do just a couple of little things. We have to make sure that it's selected. In fact, we might want to rename it here. So I'll name it Capsule Stinger 1. And I want to make sure that it is a trigger. So click this is trigger. One more step, which is to go back to refresh my Wwise picker here and say Stinger find item. And we'll drag that up to this stinger here. And it's going to add some things to the inspector on that object. And then we have to change the trigger from start to trigger enter is what we want, AK trigger enter. Now it does both, so we want to turn off start because we don't want the stinger to play right as it starts. We just want to play it when we trigger and enter. So now when I hit play, there's my cylinder. And I'm going to let us go into explore for a little bit, and then I'm going to trigger the stinger. So now trigger the stinger. So it triggered the stinger. So cool, that was working nicely. We can then copy these. So I'll copy and then I hit Command C there, and then I'll paste two more using Command V or Control if I was on a PC. Then rename this one Stinger 2 and then Stinger 3. They're all on top of each other right now, so I'm going to make sure to take Stinger 2, make sure that I'm in drag mode, this one here, using this tool, and then I'll move Stinger 2 a little bit to the left of that, and then I'll grab Stinger 3 and move that to the left of that. Okay, they all currently play the same event down here, so we're going to swap out those next. I'm going to select Stinger 2. I'm going to go back to my Wwise picker, refresh that, and then I'll see, oh, here's my second one. So I think first one was encounter, and then I'll do find item for this one. And then for the third one, I'll do open treasure. So now I should be able to play all those. I'm going to go kind of straight into my chase music. So I'm setting the state to chase. At the end of this phrase, it will play chase. And then when I collide with these objects, they should play. Cool. And if you want to be really nice to me as the instructor, you could copy these text things and put them on each one of your stingers so I know what they are, which would be really, really cool. But we have one other thing to do, which is to stop the music. So let's do that. Let's create one more game object. So we'll go up to game object, create 3D object, and we used capsules for that. Let's use a cylinder to stop it. So I'm going to create a new cylinder. Here it is. I'm going to make it bigger. I'm also going to make this 5, 5, and 5. And this will be my stop object. And I created a stop event already. So what I can do, before I drag in the new event, make sure it's set up as a trigger. So is trigger. Then I'm going to refresh my project, and I'm going to drag the probably set state none is the best one. I do have this stop game over here, but set state none is going to work really well for me. So I'm going to drag that up to my cylinder here, and it's going to add an event to that. I don't want to trigger it on start, so select AK trigger enter and turn off start. All right. So if I go and look at that again, I have it all set up, and I basically set state none and then hit save. So let's try that out. So I'm going to go right into the chase music after it plays this intro. So we're in chase. And I think the music is set to play the end only on combat. So I'm going to go over here and play combat here. So end of this phrase, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it's playing the combat music. It's playing phrase 2. I'm going to collide with this, and then it should play my ending. And that's it. That's how you get your project working in Wwise. If you want to do some fancy things, you can. For instance, there is a movie screen up here, which we can swap out a movie if we want to. To add swapping on some of these other things, we would go over here and add a video swapper object, and we then select the movie clip right here, or the other side over here. But the one that starts at the beginning is on the movie object, so that, or the video player object. So if you want to change that, you do that right here. And that's it. Then you have a completed project working in Unity and Wwise together. And what you'll do at the very end is you'll wrap up this entire folder now that it's working. So if I quit out of Unity and quit out of Unity Hub and go back to my downloads folder, this is it here. And so I can't remember what the naming convention is, but you'll look it up and you'll say maybe Michael Sweet Unity Wwise project. Then you'll zip that up. You'll compress it, which will take a little bit of time. Unfortunately, it's probably big. And this is what you'll upload for the project. Let me know if you have any questions, and good luck.